For the past 200 years, Washington-Centerville Public Library has provided citizens with access to great books. From our earliest days as a small literary club housed in a private residence, books were shared amongst members to provide enlightenment and entertainment. This was an era before formal education was commonplace and before TV and the internet were everyday options. Today, our two full-service libraries loan almost 2.5 million items each year to almost 70,000 cardholders. Despite the enormous array of education and entertainment options, people still crave, and the library still provides access to, great books. This video journey provides a glimpse of how Washington-Centerville Public Library has evolved as an organization, but managed to keep its central focus of providing access to great books at the very core of its existence. It's a story of great books, great libraries. The history of the library can be traced back to 1810, just 7 years after Ohio became a state. The first library, called the Washington Township Social Library Company, was founded by literate Yankee settlers. It was formed as a joint stock company, modeled after America's first subscription library, founded in 1731 by Benjamin Franklin. The Washington Township Social Library began operations under the direction of a board of directors that included Edmund Munger, Judge Benjamin Maltby, and Jeremiah Hole, descendant of Dr. John Hole, for whom a local elementary school is now named. Chartered by the newly elected General Assembly of the state of Ohio, the Washington Social Library Company flourished for some 30 years until 1840. Although there are no surviving library records, the first township library apparently ended operations in 1840 when a clever, unscrupulous businessman began secretly buying up shares of the library company. Soon the businessman had majority control of the joint stock company and approached Judge Maltby, who at the time still owned 2 shares, with the proposition to establish a bank on the library charter. Maltby was outraged and explained that when the charter was obtained, a pledge was given that it should not be used in such a way. The businessman, who already owned enough shares to establish anything he chose on the charter, would not be convinced, and so to avoid trouble, Judge Maltby accepted the man's $30 in exchange for his 2 shares in the library company. And so was the end of the Township Library and library service for local residents for the next 60 years. The bank that was established on the library charter was unprofitable and short-lived. In 1900, after some 60 years without library service, the Centerville Library Club was formed. The club had 37 charter members, including Reverend B.F. Vaughn and Ida Weller, after whom a local elementary school is named, who met and paid dues of 50 cents monthly. Club dues and other monies raised by sponsoring theater productions and lyceums were used to purchase books, which could be circulated among club members and their families. The first club librarian received a salary of just $1 a year, but was exempt from paying dues. She kept the club's lending library, which began with just 12 books, wrapped in butcher paper on top of her parlor organ. The Centerville Library Club was active until 1930, when the Washington Township Public Library was chartered and approved to receive 1/4 mil of state and county taxes as paid by Washington Township. After 30 years as a library club, members turned over their collection of some 1,400 books and their fixtures to the Washington Township Public Library. Soon after, 7 library trustees were appointed by the Board of Education, as they still are today. The Washington Township Public Library was still housed in a private residence, however. The library occupied 2 rooms in the early red brick home of Sarah and May Anderson on West Franklin Street. Mrs. Minnie McNeil, the first full-time librarian, worked 20 hours a week and was compensated $30 a month. The library, which was open to the public every day but Sunday, was a momentous event for residents of all ages. In 1946, the library was moved to a former blacksmith shop at 18 South Main Street and still housed only a few thousand books. That quickly changed, however, as increases in population during the post-World War II period translated to increases in library usage. From 1955 to 1960, the number of books and users doubled. As the area changed from a rural setting to a suburban community, expanded library services became imperative. Thanks to the increasing demand for library service, community leaders realized citizens deserved a more spacious library. In 1961, a new building, the Centerville Library, was constructed at 105 Virginia Avenue on land provided by the Board of Education for $1. The new facility was named for Centerville, Ohio, an early settlement on the trail between Dayton and Cincinnati. The Centerville Library opened to the public in 1962, with additions opening in 1964 and 1972 to accommodate the increasing number of users. In early 1970s, the library board began planning an additional library to serve the northern part of the community. A storefront north branch was opened in the Washington Square Shopping Center, where Dorothy Lane Market is now located, in January of 1974. The popularity of that little library prompted the trustees to arrange for yet a larger library facility. It was at this time that the first professional library director was also hired and charged with planning the new facility and the development of a collection for that library. The larger facility opened in a converted bank building at 6060 Far Hills Avenue in 1980, replacing the popular North Branch. The new building was named Woodburn Library after another early settlement which is no longer in existence. With the new Woodburn Library came several infrastructure changes, including increasing departmentalization of the library and hiring of the first professional reference librarians to answer the questions of local residents, as well as select materials for addition to the collection. The demand for library service continued to grow in tandem with the community's population and soon necessitated construction of a 7,700 square foot addition to the Woodburn Library, opening in 1986. With 2 full-service libraries now in operation, library usage skyrocketed by 235% between 1980 and 1990. Over 9,000 people visited the 2 libraries each week, and additional specialized staff were added to direct the daily operations of the library. The next century of library service began to take shape with a series of changes in the 1990s. In 1991, the library system changed its name from Washington Township Public Library to Washington-Centerville Public Library. The organization made the shift from small-town library to forward-thinking business model that included securing more funding to construct and operate a new Centerville Library to take the place of the overcrowded facility at 105 Virginia Avenue. In 1992, a bond issue and operating levy to construct and operate the new Centerville Library was passed with the assistance of over 650 volunteers. The library's new business model also included fully automating the library, and in 1994, a new electronic catalog replaced the faithful, albeit outdated, card catalog. The library's first website also debuted in the late 1990s, as did the addition of computer workstations with free internet access for public use, and new multimedia formats like DVDs became available for checkout. The opening of the new Centerville Library on February 20th, 1995, led to another spike in library usage, with annual circulation passing the 1 million items mark. Washington-Centerville Public Library was now the 26th busiest among Ohio's 250 public libraries and recognized nationally as one of the best public libraries of its size in the nation. Washington-Centerville Public Library entered the millennia as the 16th busiest library in the state, 10 spots higher than just 10 years before. A 10-year review of the 90s showed that library usage had quadrupled and set the stage for the passage of a new $2.7 million operating levy in 2002. With more funding and an all-time high demand for materials, the library increased hours and began implementing a variety of new and expanded collections and services. Express collections of new books, movies, and holiday CDs were added, and express services like self-checkout, an email notification of reserved books ready for pickup, and reminders of materials about to be due were added to make using the library even more convenient. With each new collection and service added, library usage grew. By 2004, the library was ranked 10th busiest in the state, and local citizens were checking out 42 items per capita, 3 times the national average. As a result, the library continued to score Best in the Nation rankings in the Hennen's American Public Library Rating Index. While books remained the workhorse of the library, multimedia collections emerged and offered users variety. By 2006, users could check out and listen to an electronic e-book or e-audiobook from the digital collection without ever stepping foot inside the physical library. Or they could check out portable MP3 versions of their favorite reads via the Playaway collection. And for those users looking for entertainment options other than books, the library obliged. New release DVDs and Blu-ray format movies were added, as well as a diverse selection of video games for all the major console systems. Today, the library offers its more than 700,000 visitors annually access to a collection of almost 400,000 items in a wide array of formats. And citizens take full advantage of these offerings by checking out almost 2.5 million items a year. A myriad of programs and services for all ages provide added incentive to visit. From humble beginnings to the progressive library system it is today, Washington-Centerville Public Library has provided users 200 years of great books, great libraries.